Welcome to another ramble on my Korean languages studying. Well, I'm happy with how the grammar deck is going. According to MIA, they don't recommend grammar decks, but don't forbid it outright, instead saying if you have to do it, make sentences. They stress vocabulary decks for SRS over grammar basically. I'm doing it backwards. I am stressing the grammar over the vocabulary right now, and even toyed with stopping vocabulary completely, but decided not to. I actually like reviewing the vocabulary sentence cards. I will say the grammar cards are a bit painful. The examples from the intermediate grammar book are longer, and the target grammar is surrounded by grammar worthy of the higher level target grammar too. It's overall harder. In order to help myself focus on these harder sentences, I decided screw it and added the native audio from the CDs for both books to my Anki deck. Every card has native audio on it now. It took several hours to do, but if I used the deck for a year or so, then that's well worth it. It was annoying to do though. I enjoy studying vocabulary, so how could I even consider ignoring my vocabulary sentence decks? Well, I was watching Matt's video that came out shortly before he announced the MIA Anki retirement add-on. It was basically a confessions of an Anki addict video, and this add-on is an attempt to rein in that addiction and maybe keep others from falling into that trap. Or maybe some people might see the trap coming and quit Anki altogether only to miss out on the benefits it does have to offer. Anyway, he made this add-on to have Anki auto-suspend or delete cards after a certain interval. In his video, he was thinking that an interval of a year would be a good cutoff. After you've remembered something, a year later, you probably never need to see it again in Anki. Otherwise, you are kind of a slave to Anki. After the add-on came out, he sort of adjusted that, assuming you grouped your decks a bit by frequency so that beginner cards could be retired in maybe 4 to 6 months, intermediate cards maybe 8 to 9 months, and advanced cards at a year or something like that, roughly. As I watched this video, that was like confessions of an Anki junkie. I completely identified with it. That's not to say that I had an Anki deck that I had been working on for years and years and had never once quit. I get the impression that Matt was that hardcore. I quit constantly, maybe every 3 to 4 months, although I did have an unbroken streak of about 1.5 years or so while living in Japan, but switched to another SRS app instead or made a new deck. However, I was always a slave to SRS when it came to Japanese. For Japanese, but not for any other language I studied previously. If you read my original Japanese language study log back in the day, I think I complained about this. Due to kanji, it's very difficult to just immerse yourself in Japanese by reading, and since reading was the most important learning tool for foreign languages, I didn't know what else to do except SRS. And when it comes to reading kanji, if you're looking to expand your listening, spoken, overall Japanese ability by reading, it's not enough to just understand a word from the context. You also have to know how to pronounce, read it. Kanji just messed with my head. Even with Rikai-sama or Furigana, I just couldn't get into that zone where I felt immersed. I learned, I roughly estimate, over 10,000 words in German from reading alone and no rote memorization. Reading can be amazing. Well, Korean has no kanji. Actually, I do occasionally see Hanja kanji in text, but it's always accompanied by the reading. And from what I have seen from talking to Koreans, they don't remember more than 50 or so Hanja from their school days. Really, probably less than that. Anyway, the point is, I'm noticing how easily I can immerse myself in Harry Potter using Link. Probably any decent dictionary would do, but Link is what I'm using for now. I am so tempted to just let the SRS go and see what happens from pure immersion. Matt made the observation that due to SRSing, you kind of trick the brain into thinking that some uncommon words are more common than they really are, making your speech patterns a bit weird. You would think that if the intervals of said words got big enough, then immersion would fix that, but maybe it doesn't. I'm on the fence on this. I think that foreigners just kind of don't have a natural grasp on a language that natives have, and funny words sometimes come out as a result unless you make an effort to speak naturally. I never really spoke German to any great extent, so I can't say if uncommon words ever popped out of my mouth or not, but maybe it would help if I learned my vocabulary as naturally as possible. So I'm going easy on the vocabulary sentence stack and still considering doing away with it or just not adding to it and seeing what happens from just immersion instead. If I were to hit a plateau from just reading, at that point I could turn to Anki maybe, or just use Anki to drill vocabulary that I would definitely want to know if I were traveling maybe. I'm still considering and focusing on the grammar right now. Some people argue you can just learn grammar from context, but I don't think so. When it comes to Japanese, I can actually look up most grammar in the dictionary as I have tons of experience using Japanese dictionaries, but not so much when it comes to Korean. I really think a grammar Anki deck is very beneficial. So that's my update. I am working on grammar and trying to read as much as possible with Link. This weekend I read several hours, maybe 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours each day on Link. So that's crazy. Obviously during the week I can't do that, but I am doing going out as much as I can hardcore to read as much as possible. And I would like results as quickly as possible, so I'll keep updating. They probably won't come out as quickly as possible, but I will let you know how things go in the next video. Thanks for watching.